I hear men talking on that side, so men them shut up. Grind to the sun up. Who men them talking on that side? What? Yeah. Who men them talking on that side? So men them shut up. Grind to the sun up. Grind. What? Who men them talking on that side? You a joke made fun of. What? Yeah. Every time I hit the boot, shit get burned up.
Hey yo, what up squad? Welcome back to HOODROK Entertainment, realest, dopest, most active reaction channel on YouTube. Hey, so we're paying tribute to all our fallen soldiers, New Zealand and Australia, right? And even the Turkish fallen soldiers, for that matter. I found out this morning that even the Turks, they're Turkish, that even the Turks, they celebrate ANZAC Day as well, but they don't call it ANZAC Day. Alright, they call it something else, because the battle that took place, which really created the ANZACs, was Gallipoli, World War I. Right, which was where New Zealand and Australia joined forces and created the ANZACs, Australia and New Zealand Army Corps. And it's a really big thing here in New Zealand, right? Because there was a lot of soldiers that didn't make it home. So rest in peace to all our fallen soldiers. Rest in peace to all the Turkish fallen soldiers. And ever since that battle, ever since World War I, the ANZACs have remained active. We've been active in Afghanistan and active in Iraq. Played major roles in World War II. Check out those reactions I did last night to that. And played major roles in Vietnam and things like that, where my grandfather served. Alright, so I thought it would only be right, seeing as the whole of New Zealand is in ANZAC mode this weekend, that I help educate some of our squad members on other parts that New Zealand played in wars, you know what I mean? So, we're going to get into this. I've got a couple of short videos here. I'm rolling up, we're smoking. A lot of people might smoke a cigar to remember fallen soldiers, might have a drink. I don't drink. I don't smoke cigarettes. So we settle for this, alright? So anyway, hold on 1 second. My bad, Joe, my bad. Let's get into this. So the first video we got is World War I factions, the New Zealand Army. Let's get into it.
Faction, the New Zealand Army, the First World War. On the outbreak of the First World War in August 1914, the New Zealand government offered their support to Britain with the New Zealand Expeditionary Force. Almost immediately, a section of the NZEF consisting of 1,400 soldiers was sent overseas to capture Imperial Germany's protectorate of German Samoa. 8,500 men of the NZEF left for Egypt in...
That's something else I learned. I didn't actually know that Samoa used to be German Samoa.
In October 1914, where they trained 100 to capture Imperial Germany's protectorate of German Samoa. 8,500 men of the NZEF left for Egypt in October 1914, where they trained and joined up with British forces. They would be joined by the Australian forces, which they formed with to create the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, or ANZAC. They would fight at the disastrous Gallipoli campaign in 19...
That's right. So I didn't actually know that it was formed. So, I take back what I said at the start. I actually thought that ANZACs were formed because of Gallipoli. I didn't actually realize they were formed because of the expedition that they did in Samoa. I knew about the expedition in Samoa, but I didn't think that it was because of that it was a German territory. I didn't know that.
1915, and against an Ottoman attack on the Suez Canal, and against the Senussi on the Egyptian-Libyan frontier. After the Gallipoli campaign, the NZEF was expanded and reorganized. The Mounted Rifles Brigade would join the Australians as part of the ANZAC Mounted Division in Egypt, while most of the NZEF would be shipped off to France to join in the Western Front with Britain and its allies, taking part in major battles until the end.
in the front line, bro, at the start of this shit.
Mounted division in Egypt, while most of the NZEF would be shipped off to France to join in the Western Front with Britain and its allies, taking part in major battles until the end of the war.
That's right.
2,200 Maoris and around 460 Pacific Islanders.
Rest in peace to my Maoris. Now, I know what he was just about to say. Man, the Western will get it twisted a lot, right? So he was about to say, what he's about to say is, Maoris and such Pacific Islanders, we are Pacific Islanders. Maori are Pacific Islanders, bro. Alright. Yo. Oh, man, that's funny how, like, they didn't know that. They separate us a lot. They separate us a lot, bro. You know what I mean? They say, oh, the Maori and the Pacific Islanders. We are Pacific Islanders, bro. New Zealand is an island in the Pacific, bro. You know what I mean? Jesus.
Of the war. 2,200 Maoris and around 460 Pacific Islanders served in the NZEF, and it would be the first time they would serve in a major war with the New Zealand Army. A remarkable 124,000 men served in the New Zealand Expeditionary Force in the First World War. New Zealand's population at the time was 1 million. It is estimated that there were 59,000.
Fuck, was it really 1 million? I didn't know that. I can't imagine our population being 1 million. I mean, we're 5 million. 5 million at the moment, but 1 million, really?
500 casualties. New Zealand Expeditionary Force in the First World War. New Zealand's population at the time was 1 million.
Holy shit.
It is estimated that there were 59,500 casualties.
Damn.
Watch our other videos to learn more. Get your copy of Simple History.
That was a short ass video, so we got another one anyway. We're gonna get straight into.
The Gallipoli Campaign, 1915 to 1916. World War I. By 1915, the war on the Western Front had fallen into a stalemate. The Allied powers fighting in Belgium and France were considering opening a new front. In January 1915, Grand Duke Nicholas of Russia had appealed to Britain for assistance against the Ottoman Empire, a member of the Central Powers which had invaded the Caucasus. And
who came to the rescue? Who came to the rescue? But let me tell you something really quick about New Zealand, bro. When America found out hard in Iraq, they didn't tell you this, but when they found out hard in Iraq, before capturing or before killing Saddam Hussein, who did they call to get all the, how did they call to help them? The New Zealand SAS, bro. The New Zealand SAS, bro. You know what's sad about the whole thing that people don't understand is New Zealand is a branch of the British Empire. People don't understand that New Zealand is a branch of the British Army. Right? So when we go to war alongside Britain, the world just see us as the British Army. They don't see New Zealand Army. They don't see Australian Army. They see the Brits. See what I'm saying?
Ottoman Empire, a member of the Central Powers which had invaded the Caucasus. A naval expedition was launched by the Allies to capture the Dardanelles Straits, a passage that connects the Aegean Sea to the Sea of Marmara in northwestern Turkey, and beyond that, the Black Sea. If they were successful in their goal, the Allies could link up supply routes with Russia and knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war. Furthermore, as First Lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill proposed opening another front would dilute the German forces as they supported the depleting Ottoman Turkish army. British Admiralty Winston Churchill pushed for a naval attack on the Dardanelles with a bombardment by British and French battleships on February the 19th, 1915, and resumed on the 25th because of bad weather. The Ottomans had placed mines in the water, and the minesweepers had failed to detect many of them. The British also sent Royal Marines ashore to
run it back a little bit. Sorry, bro. I was just looking at something on here on this map here, because I know that there's a lot of shit going on in the Black Sea at the moment, right? With the whole Ukraine, Russia thing. Hey, and glory to Ukraine too, while we're at it. But I know there's a lot of shit going on at the moment.
25th because of bad weather. The Ottomans had placed mines in the water, and the minesweepers had failed to detect many of them. The British also sent Royal Marines ashore to sabotage Ottoman artillery. On March the 18th, Allied battleships entered the straits. Fire from the Turks and undetected mines sank 3 of the ships and damaged 3 others. This naval assault could not work because the Turkish guns needed to be silenced, and so did the minefields, which was impossible to do at the same time. The naval ships were also mainly obsolete warships, unsuitable for action. After this failed naval attack, a full-scale amphibious beach assault would begin on the Gallipoli Peninsula. General Ian Hamilton was commander and had assembled 77 ships and 75,000 men. However, he lacked specialist landing craft. Under his command were commander and had assembled 77 ships and 75,000 men. However, he lacked specialist landing craft. Under his command were British forces, ANZAC, standing for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, and lastly, French troops. The landing started on April 25th. The Allies suffered heavy casualties, establishing the beachheads of Cape Helles and Anzac Cove on the Aegean coast. The Anzac forces had...
That's the original D-Day, bro. It's the real D-Day. That was the first ever D-Day. You know, you got the World War II one where they all rolled up on the beach and got fucked up, you know. But there's the World War I D-Day that they don't talk about that much, which was Gallipoli. You know what I mean? When we rolled up on the beach, just rolled up onto cannon and musket fire like crazy.
Had landed a little heavy casualties, establishing the beachheads
Muskets,
of Cape Helles and Anzac Cove on the Aegean coast. The Anzac forces had landed a little north of the intended landing site of Gaba Tepe at a cove instead. The Gaba Tepe landings would become known as the Anzac Cove landings, in honour of the Australian and New Zealand troops who fought valiantly against the...
And we've got a lot of buried soldiers here too. We've got a lot of buried soldiers here as well. So I know that there's a lot of... And shout out to the Turks as well, bro, because they really look after that. There's a monumental place there, right? A memorial site there all set up. It's really nice too. And I like the way that the Turkish respect the battle that happened, bro. And we're now, you know, I don't know how close we are, like, with the fuck politics, all that shit. I'm not into that. But I know that the people respect each other. Because every year they show it on our news, on our local news. They'll show on our news channels, they're broadcasting from over there, and they show the Turks turning up to the sites where, because a lot of our soldiers are buried over there, so they're turning up there with flowers and all that shit. So yeah, respect to the Turkish for that shit, bro.
Determined Ottoman Turkish defenders. After the landing, the Allies could not progress as trench warfare quickly formed like it had done on the Western Front.
You gotta remember, the Māori invented trench warfare. Right, the Māori here in New Zealand, my people. So we used trench warfare against the British when they first come to New Zealand, and then together we took it to World War One. Trench warfare, and it become really a big thing. You know what I mean? It's still used today.
The summer heat
in Ukraine,
dysentery epidemic were unbearable, and swarms of flies hung around corpses. Hamilton ordered an attack on Suvla Bay in August, involving the landing of 63,000 Allied troops. They were to link up with Anzacs at Anzac Cove and break the stalemate. But indecision meant that the Ottoman Empire would reinforce the position, and by August 10th, an attack led by Mustafa Kemal recaptured Suvla Bay. Allied casualties...
Sorry about that, I had to go get in a lot of the joint went out. Like, what the hell? Anyway.
20th of December 1915. The last troops left Cape Helles on January the 9th, 1916, and the evacuation was a success with no casualties. The Gallipoli campaign was a disaster for the Allies.
Yes,
They suffered
it
more
was,
than
bro.
250,000 casualties.
Yes.
While on the
Yes,
Ottoman
bro.
side, they also had an estimated 250,000 casualties.
Yeah, but we failed. We went there to capture that place. We did nothing but lose 250,000 people, 250,000 people. You know what I mean? A lot of them were my people, the Māori Battalion, bro. Like, you know what I mean? My great-grandfather served in the Māori Battalion, but I don't think he was in Gallipoli. I think he was in in Africa. I think he was based in Africa. I nearly guarantee that because he met my grandmother who's African. I'm Nigerian, and he brought her back to New Zealand. So my great grandfather was based in Africa, but this here big story in New Zealand. You know what I mean? Really well documented, really well known, all of that.
Gallipoli has become a defining moment in the history of both Australia and New Zealand.
Facts.
And has been recognised as their baptism of
There
fire
you go.
and a key
There you go.
event to their emergence as independent nations. In Turkey, the battle was seen as a significant event in the foundation of modern Turkey and a final victorious defence
Respect,
before
bro.
the end of the Ottoman Empire.
Hey, look, you can only respect the Turks. They defended, bro. You gotta remember. Even though I'm a New Zealander, I'm not like the Americans, no disrespect really, but I'm not like the Americans. I don't try to find an excuse for everything. We went to someone else's country. We tried to fuck them up. They fought back. And do you know how huge that must be for Turkey? Turkey's not a big country. And they were fighting off the French, the New Zealanders, the Australians, the Brits. And they did, and they had major success. They fucked us up. They lost a lot of men themselves, but they didn't lose nothing else. You know what I mean? Like, they kept their own shit. They didn't let us through. All of that. Respect to Turkey, bro.
Watch our other videos to learn more.
Yeah, we will, bro. Facts. Hey, that was fire. I hope you learned something, bro. A little bit, like, you know, I'm not trying to tell you, yo, we were the shit, bro. We fucked everything up. All of that. I'm just trying to shine a little bit of light on New Zealand, bro, because we don't get the respect that we deserve, bro. We played major parts in these wars. And because we fought under the British, we don't get none of that limelight. All of these, all the world knows is the Brits were a superpower, America is a superpower, the Russians were a superpower, China's a superpower. They don't think of what makes these countries a superpower, you know what I mean? When all the dirty shit needs to be done, who do they send in? Who are the Brits? Super Secret Service. Yeah, it's the SAS, it's the New Zealand SAS. We're the elite special forces for the Brits. You know what I mean? We're the ones they call when they need some Jason Bourne type shit done. You know what I mean? They need to be calling us now to take out Putin. Shit. We'll do that. You know what I mean? Like when they were failing in Turkey, and that's another thing you gotta remember too. We're forgetting that even before we went to Turkey, we had tried before that. Like the Allies had tried before that and failed. So they called in Australia and New Zealand, the ANZACs, and went, yo, we can't do it. Can you do it? And we went to try and not even we could do it. Turkey fucked us up too. So that's only a testament to the Turks. You know what I mean? And you know how tough they were. So yo, respect. You know what's up, bro. Stay safe. Stay dangerous. And we out. Peace.